Hey golfers, welcome back to the putting channel. I'm here at the beautiful Yas Acres practice facility. Today I'm going to share with you why you would see so many golfers doing the compass or clock face drill. There's so many benefits to doing it, things that you can learn from it that you can take to the golf course to improve your green reading and execution of short putts. So watch this video to find out more about why you might want to be doing the compass drill. So for this video, I'm going to call it the compass drill because we've got 8 points around the hole, north, south, east, west, and then our cardinal points, northeast, northwest, etc. So there's 8 putts in total. I'd encourage people to set this up. I've used tees so you can see it on the video with a chalk pen, so it's a little bit less intrusive when you're going through the drill. But the first learning, part 1, of doing the compass drill is finding the straight putt, a skill that can be utilized quite often on the golf course. So here I've got the north putt and the south putt marked out. This is the straight downhill putt and this is the straight uphill putt, and that's the first thing that we can learn from. A scenario that we might go through on the golf course is that we might find ourselves pretty close to that straight putt, and we can use what we would see as the straight putt when we're looking at it to figure out the direction that the putt might break. So it's worth understanding anything on this half of the compass, let's call it the east side, is going to break from right to left because the slope direction is this way. And then anything on this side, the west side, is going to break left to right. And that's by varying amounts. The maximum point of break will be immediately perpendicular. So I've marked those out, the east point and the west point. And then the further away I get from that perpendicular point, the less it's going to break. So let's make a scenario for the golf course, right? I found myself here. I'm going to put a ball down for reference. And I'm not really sure if it's pretty straight or it's going to break. I'm going to wander around the hole and try and figure out, well, this putt looks pretty straight. So off of that, I can understand that this putt might break a little bit right to left. And I can further that with my strategy. So I could say, well, I think it might break a little bit right to left. So let's go inside the hole on the right. If it doesn't break, it's going to catch the right side. If it breaks a little bit, hopefully it's going to catch the left side. So I've got 2 things there. I'm figuring out, I think it's going to go right to left. And then I'm strategizing based around this fall line, this straight putt. So that's part 1 of our learning. Then from there, you'll see I've marked out, like I said, the perpendicular putts and the cardinal points. So they're immediately between the north putt and the east putt, i.e. the straight putt and the putt with a maximal break. And what you'll also see is I've marked out a point here that is showing me the start line. I've worked out this is a 3% slope. While we're on that subject, I encourage you to do this on different slopes, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4% slopes. And I've marked out for this east putt and this west putt, the start line is going to be at this tee. And then from there, I can use that reference point for all the other putts around the hole. So if you're doing the clock drill, that just involves 12 putts. You can go 2 putts in between, right? And still use that point as a reference point for your start line. So let me further explain that. Let's say I've got this southeast putt. So because I'm on the south side, I know that it's uphill. And because I'm on the east side, I know it breaks right to left. But I've also got my reference point here. Now, when I pull this reference point back to hole high, we can see that the amount between my start line and the hole is decreased. And then I'm going to further decrease that because this putt is slightly up the hill. So because it's uphill, it's going to break less because I have to hit the ball with more speed. So I'm going to go just inside that tee And actually that works out at about maybe an inch outside the hole, and then I'm going to execute it. So starting this ball an inch outside the hole at the appropriate pace, should see pretty centered, pretty good putt. Just a quick one, if you're watching this video, then it's likely you're looking to improve your putting. And if that's the case, I'd encourage you to visit my website, jjputting.com. There you're going to find more information about me, the in-person lessons that I do, the online lessons that I do, and the projects that I'm working on to help golfers around the world. So visit the website, JJ Putting, to find out more. So as I'm going around the hole, I can use this reference point for my start line. So let's go to the downhill putt, and I'll choose the west side. So I'm still facing the camera. And because it's down the hill, I'm using that reference point a little bit differently. It's now going to break a bit more because I have to hit it with less pace. So I'm going outside of that tee, which is actually probably putting it a good 3 or 4 inches outside of the hole. And then I'm going to execute. Needs less speed. And I can see with less speed there, that probably a little bit low on speed, but it went in kind of the right half of the hole and it was a good putt. So you can see how this reference point is working really well for me when I'm understanding whether I'm uphill, downhill for all these putts around the hole. And actually as a fun drill, what you can do is hit putts from all of the different points around the hole, not just these 8 points that I have here, but in between points, right? So if I did this uphill right to left, that's kind of, let's say southeast, that tee is actually just outside the hole. So I'm going to go right lip for this putt. And what I'm doing as I'm doing this, I've got to take in as much information as I can. I'm creating a really good understanding of what my ball is doing across a slope relative to the straight putt, right? So this is more uphill than it is right to left. I'm going to go just inside right. If I hit this at the right pace, there we go. It broke a little bit more because I gave it that right side favor. It caught the left half of the hole. So that's part one of doing this drill. We're going around randomly, hitting different putts. We're hitting putts from all the points where the tees are. Like I said, encourage you to use a chalk pen, but I'm going to hit putts from in between as well. So I'm learning the start line for all different orientations to this slope. The next step is we can make this a performance game. So we might have done this drill, this is at 4 foot, we might do it at 3 foot, 5 foot, and maybe let's say that we do it at 6 foot as well. And we'll have all the different reference points for the start line of the perpendicular putt that we can work off of for all of the cardinal points, northeast, northwest, etc. So now I've got 32 putts in total. And what I'm going to do, let's say I start with the north putt, I've holed that. I've then gone to the northeast and I've holed that. And now I'm on the east putt. And I'm going to give myself a point for every putt that I successfully hole on the first attempt. And I'm going to try and miss this high. So I've hit it really hard to miss it. If I miss the putt, I don't get a point, but what I'm going to do is retake the putt just for my learning. And hopefully on the second attempt, using that reference point, might be prudent to reiterate, this is the start line for this putt, so I don't have to work off of it, I can just work exactly to it. And if I hit this at the right speed, a little bit hard, but we can see it caught the right side. I won't gain a point for that putt because I didn't hole it on the first occasion, but I'm still going to move to the next putt because I've successfully holed it. So keep doing that putt until you hole it, but you don't get a point. So I'm now on 2 points after 3 putts. And you can do this drill for all 32 putts and see how many putts that you end up holing. So last thing to say, if you set this drill up for 3, 4, 5 and 6 foot putts, we already know the start line, right? So on tour they average 95% from 3 foot, so you should really hole most of those. 4 foot they're 85%, so maybe you can miss 1, maybe 2, but probably 1 at the most, especially if you've already got the start line. We go up to 5 foot, they're 75-ish%, and therefore 2 is the maximum you can miss. And then 6 foot, we'll say they're at 65-ish%, so you probably want to miss a maximum of 3. So if you're at a tour level doing this drill, you probably only want to miss maybe 4 or 5 putts at the most. But that's what's great about this drill, is for every level of golfer, there's going to be a certain amount of putts that you should hit. But you can keep track of how many putts you are holing and see if that is improving over time. And the benefit of this drill, just to reiterate, when you're on the golf course, if you're taking in the information that it's providing and the skills that it's helping you learn, one example being finding the straight putt and working off of that, or just understanding how much putts actually break across different slopes, hopefully you're going to get better at executing those short putts and you're going to see more of them go in on the golf course.